Hey, what's up guys, John here. Every American should be paying very close attention to Pennsylvania right now, Pittsburgh specifically, as they are slashing the police budgets to the likes in which we've never before seen. Now police will not respond between the hours of 3 a.m. and 7 a.m. Even if someone breaks into your home, they won't respond. Including theft, harassment, criminal mischief, right? And this post already has 8.4 million views in the last 24 hours.
Pittsburgh police leaders are restructuring the bureau.
The hours from 3 a.m. to 7, those calls will be queued up for the person that comes in at 7 a.m. to take the reports in the morning.
It's seen over 100 million times all throughout social media. But when you look at what's going on in Pittsburgh, then you pay very close attention to what's unfolding in 15 other cities in America, which I'm going to share with you what these cities are. They're following very similar protocols. But then the big question is, why? Is this a really good decision to make? I mean, the conversation being had the last couple of years is defund the police, get rid of the police. The conversation has been that police officers are bad.
More than $840 million were cut from U.S. police budgets. That was in 2020.
Milwaukee Common Council approved a resolution to study ways to cut the police budget by 10%.
But when you look at where we are, we're record high inflation, record high food costs, record high car payments, record high car insurance, record high credit card debt, people are being pushed to the brink financially. I mean, there's nowhere to move for most Americans. And then you remove police departments, what's going to happen? People are going to start doing things to that they otherwise wouldn't do to survive. And when you have a lower probability of getting caught for a crime, I think you're going to see more people committing those crimes. I'm going to break this down for you. I'm going to show you the facts and show you exactly what's going on. Please hit the like button. Hit the like button. YouTube will share the content. Educate more people about what's happening in the U.S. economy. And if you'd like to fix your credit to position yourself what I believe is going to be the greatest wealth transfer in American history, we'd love to help you at my company, GreatCreditFast.com. That's GreatCreditFast.com. If you have late payments, medical bills, charge-offs, foreclosures, bankruptcies, repossessions, or any negative item in your credit report, go to GreatCreditFast.com. Click the link in the description just below this video. Schedule a free study session for tomorrow, for Tuesday. Take a look at this. I'm going to show you a little clip of it.
City will see a major change
right here.
in the way police respond. They will no longer respond to calls that aren't considered in progress emergency. That means calls like criminal mischief, theft,
harassment,
and most burglary alarms.
Burglary, right? Shocking. Absolutely shocking. Another post, 200,000 views. Now here are the 15 cities. 15, and this is posted 5 hours ago. The 11th, 2024, 7:28 a.m. 15 cities defunding budgets to the bare minimum. And so, in a dramatic shift, cities across the United States are embarking on sweeping police budget reforms, signaling a resounding call to direct funding away from law enforcement, from Austin redirecting $150 million to community programs, to Minneapolis committing to reimagining public safety with $28 million reduction. Cities are dramatically shifting priorities. Cities that employ these strategies include, now look at these. These are the cities right here. You have Minneapolis doing this. You have, look, San Francisco. That doesn't surprise anybody. You have Austin, Portland. You have New York City, Seattle, Philly. Look at this. LA, Salt Lake City, Dallas. It's absolutely unreal. Hartford, New Orleans, Baltimore. Can you imagine what Baltimore would look like? Like Boston, and every single city. You have Long Beach, all doing the same exact thing. The conversation has been had that police are very, very, very bad people, and that that we need to really defund them. But the reality, I think, couldn't be further from the truth. My opinion, people don't get into wanting to become a police officer for the money. They get into it because they want to protect and serve, and they genuinely want to make the world a better place. Sure, there's probably some bad apples, just like any industry. If you look at some doctors, some insurance agents, some real estate agents, mortgage lenders, people that work in every industry, there's probably some great people, and there's probably some people that aren't so ethical, that aren't so great, right? But to take one specific job and basically say that nearly everyone in this career is a bad person, you have to ask yourself, who is saying that? Why are they saying that? Why is this actually happening? What is the real incentive? What is the real gain long term, right? Because I personally don't think the real gain is in the betterment of the everyday American. Now, when you look at this scenario, Pittsburgh police will no longer respond to calls that are not in progress emergencies amid resource crunch. And so this is, again, theft, harassment, and burglary alarms. But what is absolutely shocking is this coming from the police chief, Larry Scirotto. Now, this police chief might sound familiar because this police chief was fired. He was fired last year, or 2 years ago, March 5th, 2022, and Fort Lauderdale. And the reason that he was firing people was because of what he said here. He said that The report said Scirotto once pointed to a conference room wall, displaying photos of the department's command staff, and stated that that wall is too, I'm going to change that. And so what he said was that he was sworn in a police chief mid-August, and the city had hired a law firm by November to investigate complaints of discrimination before he was fired on Thursday. And it's pretty shocking, right? It's pretty shocking. Imagine being promoted or demoted based solely on pigmentation of your skin, right? It should be, in my opinion, based on, your ability to perform that job, right? Well, that's not, in fact, the case. So when you start to see him getting moved to Pittsburgh, and then out of nowhere, you see Pittsburgh doing what is happening right now in Pittsburgh, you have to ask yourself, is that right, or was he put there? I don't know. It's going to be interesting to watch. So Pittsburgh city controller warns that city is heading into a major financial crisis. And the reason that they're heading into this financial crisis, the first of those assessments appeals by downtown office buildings, which emptied during the pandemic and have never recovered. Downtown makes up 25% of the city's taxable real estate, about $30 million a year in revenue. Those appeals are cutting those assessments and those tax payments in half in some cases. Not only will the city be getting half the revenue, but it has already cut $1.8 million in refund checks and will be cutting more. In addition to not bringing in revenue, we're going to owe checks back to property owners who own commercial buildings in downtown. Then there's the sports facility usage fee, the so-called jock tax. For the past 20 years, the city has raked in $70 million levying a fee for visiting athletes and performers who come to Pittsburgh. The courts have ruled it unconstitutional. So not only will the city not be getting it, it's anticipated $4.4 million in revenue this year. It will likely be refunding a large chunk of the $70 million. This could blow a hole inside of that budget. And then you look at other cities that are dealing with massive budget deficits. You have New York City, Chicago, Honolulu, Portland, New Orleans, Philadelphia, St. Louis, Dallas, Pittsburgh, Miami. You have all these different cities. They're in a massive, massive deficit. Many of these cities have promoted the movement of, defunding police and bringing in, workers that will, have walkie-talkies, and they'll be able to, try to remedy the situation in a different way, a way in which they think is more equitable. You have to ask yourself, though, of these cities, how many people here are pushed to the brink financially? Like New York City, for example, probably nearly almost everybody. Chicago, Portland, Philadelphia, St. Louis, all of these cities are expensive places to live, right? And so when they're expensive places to live and the cities are drowning in debt, and they have been saying that they want to defund the police, and there are, many of these locations like New York, pushing Portland, proposed budget cuts impacting special education, family, school districts. A lot of these places, Portland, New York, Minneapolis, all talking about these budget cuts for schools. And these very, very budget cuts, these very deficits are also hitting these same exact cities that also promoted, to defund. So in my opinion, I think what we're going to start to see here is a lot more pain coming for budgets all across all of these cities. And with this, we're going to see a massive push away from police. We're going to likely see crime start to go parabolic. Because I personally believe that Jerome Powell is not going to cut rates this year. I personally think that the affordability crisis is going to get worse. Inflation is going to get worse. People are going to be pushed into a harder and harder and harder spot. I genuinely believe most people are good people. But when you put people in a place where they can't feed themselves, a good percentage of those people are going to turn. And that's what I think we're walking into. I think we're walking into a scenario this year and next year where we are going to see more of this, more of what's unfolding in Pittsburgh right now, where between the hours of 3 a.m. and 7 a.m., then before you know it's going to be between the hours of 12 a.m. and 9 a.m., they're going to start cutting budgets left, right, and center. And I think it's up to every American to be prepared, be educated about what's really going on. Look at things very, very clearly. Look at what's happening, the price of gold, the price of Bitcoin. People are not trusting the system, not trusting the dollar. People are getting more skittish, more really careful about everything. What do you think about this entire situation? Do you think we're walking into a scenario where this could potentially be spreading nationwide, and instead we could be walking into a world that is, some would say, even lawless? Drop below, let's have a conversation about this. I personally think this could be happening this year and next year. If you'd like to fix your credit to position yourself what I believe is going to be the biggest rug pull in American history, what we're in right now, we'd love to help you. At my company, GreatCreditFast.com. That's GreatCreditFast.com. If you have late payments, medical bills, charge-offs, foreclosures, bankruptcies, repossessions, or any negative item on your credit report, go to GreatCreditFast.com. Click the link in the description just below this video. Schedule a free study session for tomorrow, for Tuesday. I'll catch you next video.